And next, I would like to have Yulia Cagé express her views and opinions.
Yeah, I would like to thank you. Thank you for your introduction. Thanks for inviting me to this panel. In a sense, you know, I am the one with the less knowledge of the media industry in India, even if I am working more and more on newspapers, in particular in India, because I think, you know, when you work on democracy to begin with, and when you work on the media industry, India is a fabulous example of a country with like plenty of newspapers in different language, high level of political participation, and compared to what we can observe in a number of like Western democracies, in particular, if you look at numbers in terms of like circulation of newspaper per capita, India can be seen as a model. At the same time, it suffers from a number of issues we also see in different countries, in particular issues of media capture and increasing media concentration, as well as increasing competition from international players such as Google, Facebook, or Amazon in terms of advertising revenue. And what I would like to do quickly in this short introduction is to say that I think that there are a lot of lessons that we can draw from India in a country like France when thinking about regulation, but the reverse can also be true. Like in the French context, as of today, we have an increasing, we have a small number of billionaires owning the vast majority of the media industry. Basically, you know, all the big broadcast media and newspapers are owned by between 7 and 8 different billionaires whose main sector of activity is outside of the media industry. And there have been a number of proposals to try to better regulate the media industry. And if I want to summarize them, and I would be happy if we have the opportunity to discuss them and to see whether you think it could be something that would make sense in the Indian context, I would say the following. I think the first thing that we have to think about is the introduction of new rules so as to empower the journalist. And in particular, very often when we think in terms of governance of the media, we think about it in the same way we would think in terms of governance of like traditional companies, where when you own all the capital shares, you also have all the voting rights. I think it could be different for the media industry, and in particular, we need to find a way to give more voting rights to journalists in the media industry, and in particular, to give them a number of seats in the board of the media companies. This could be a good way to better protect their independence, because at the end of the day, the journalists themselves are the best way to defend their own independence when under attack. So there have been a number of proposals in order like to say that, okay, for a media company, for example, to benefit from government advertising or to benefit from some press subsidies, they should give more seats in their board to employees and to journalists. This would be the rules number one. The rule number two that I want to discuss with you is the following. The idea is that to produce high quality information and to produce high quality news, one needs to have enough journalists and enough journalists that are well paid. The issue is that the media industry is often a for-profit industry where media are giving back some dividends to their shareholders. And this leads the media industry from time to time to try to do more profits by spending less money, and in particular by having less journalists and relying more and more on copy, for example, online. And I think that, again, when we look at press subsidies or when you look at government advertising to newspapers, now this cannot happen without any commitment from the part of the media outlets to have enough journalists, and in particular to devote a certain share of their total revenues to the hiring of journalists. And the third thing that I would like to discuss with you would be the opportunity to introduce what I called media vouchers. What are media vouchers? The idea is to have press subsidies for newspapers, but without any capture by the government. In a number of countries where press subsidies for media have been introduced, this has been used as a way for the governments, to let's say sustain, in a nutshell, the media that were close to the power and not to give any subsidies to the other media outlets. I think we need to rethink about that. And the best way to allocate public funding for the media is by decentralizing the allocation, and the media vouchers could be a way to do that. So concretely, it means that rather than giving the government the possibility to allocate press subsidies, you give each Indian citizen a voucher worth, let's say, like $5 that it can allocate to the media outlets, to the newspaper of his or her choice. This would be a way to sustain subscription to newspapers by citizens who might not have enough resources to buy them. This will also be a way to sustain the production of high quality information, and this would be a way to reduce the possible capture of the media industry by the government.